I was elected to this House in part on the basis.
Virginia legislators are working to meet an October 30th deadline to redraw 11 voting district lines. A federal court found 11 of Virginia's legislative districts to be unconstitutional.
We have districts that artificially pull us apart, either to the far left or the far right. And not to say that we shouldn't have the far left or far right represented. They're a key part of our political spectrum, but it leaves the people in the middle out. And it leaves honest conversation. It makes it even harder to have because it's often those folks in the middle that are being the bridge from one side or another to have a conversation. And I think gerrymandering is partly to blame for our polarization. There's certainly other culprits, but I think like campaign finance reform or lack thereof, that would pull us apart too, but it's just harder to fix that. This is one that we can fix, and other states have done it. Virginia shouldn't be the last one to get this right. 5
of the 11 districts the court deemed as unconstitutional include districts 63, 69, 70, 71, and 74. They are in the Richmond area. The other districts involved are in Norfolk and the Hampton Roads areas. Brian Cannon is the executive director for One Virginia 2021.
We've got a government that doesn't always work, and part of that is by design, but part of that is the dysfunction and polemic nature of our society right now and the artificial things that are pulling us apart. But here's what I do know is that if Americans are, and they are, waking up to this issue, and we get on board and we start changing it, what you see a more representative government being elected to actually serve the people in state houses and in Congress, and you also see more competition in these districts. So instead of having districts where one party wins 70 to 30, you're starting to see honest conversations in districts that might be a lot closer than that. And not that it's going to be competitive everywhere, but that it should be competitive in more places.
Cannon says competition will help the best ideas and the best people to arise. He also says the root cause of the problem is racial gerrymandering.
I think any district you're looking at that carves up a community is a tough one, right? That's tough to defend. These 11 districts that were struck down are a perfect example. They stretch from the north side and south side of Richmond, mostly on the eastern part of the city, all the way down on both sides of the James River, all the way down into Norfolk and Portsmouth. I mean, these are really messed up districts. But you could also look to Culpeper, Virginia. The little Culpeper has 18,000 people, and yet it's carved up 3 ways for the state Senate.
In response to state lawmakers being found guilty of violating the Equal Protection Clause, Governor Ralph Northam called a special session of the General Assembly for August 30th.
Constitutional boundaries that have been drawn in 2011 by this chamber. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, I can say to you today, we take our obligation to govern very seriously, as we showed a few minutes ago on passing that procedural resolution. And we also take court orders very seriously. People may say, well, you know, we have an appeal pending, we've asked for a stay, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But anybody who knows anything about the law understands that until a court acts and either grants an appeal or grants a stay, you are required to comply with the terms of an order of the court. Now, that's what we have tried to do.
That's Democratic House Minority Leader Delegate David Toscano during the August 30th special session of the General Assembly.
We understand when a court says something is unconstitutional, we have an obligation as legislators to try to address that problem. We have known that these districts were unconstitutional for a long, long time. The court affirmed our view of that on June 26th of this year. June 26th. How many months ago was that? We've had an opportunity to get back together and try to fix the problem since June 26th. And frankly, we're not the origin of the problem, and we are not the majority party. So in a way, we're not in a position to fix that problem without your help.
Cannon says the recent passing of Senator and former U.S. presidential candidate John McCain should leave a legacy for politicians to follow.
I think John McCain's example was great for how Americans need to talk across the aisle to each other. We need to treat each other as Americans and as people who care and recognize the humanity in each of us, to have an honest conversation about the problems we need to tackle. If we just think that there's a Democratic solution and there's a Republican solution, we're going to be missing some good ideas that the other guys might bring to the table.
Cannon gave an example of just how divisive the current legislative district lines are.
You go in on Route 3 coming in from Fredericksburg into Culpeper, and you'll pass a nice little church called Open Door Baptist Church. And if you look on the district map online, the district cuts right through Open Door Baptist Church, right through the open door of Open Door Baptist Church. Right? So that's a bad district. It doesn't represent that community, and there's no reason to carve up that little neighborhood up to serve somebody's political interest. So what I do know is that with distorted lines, you get distorted representation. And if you just kept the community together, keep Culpeper together, and let them elect people to send to Richmond and to DC to represent them, instead of carving out bits and parts to make someone's reelection easier.
In Harrisonburg, Elaine Rackley for Breaking Through News.